Okay, so again, this is what my whole blog and podcast is about. It's about the experiences, the traumas that we have, and then what those traumas how these traumas cause you to behave. So we're going to go into the behaviors now. After your traumas, what behaviors did you notice yourself exhibiting or fighting with?
Well, the common one, sexual promiscuity.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So I did have a kid at an early age. You know, I had, I just, I put in my mind that since because I've been sexually abused so much that I wasn't gonna, nobody has to take it from me. I'll give it.
Right.
You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And I think that's what promiscuity is. It just all comes with, sometimes it
Oh
comes with,
yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
trauma, sexual trauma, you know, but,
A
yes,
lot of it is.
promiscuity and, you know, so kids before marriage, all that stuff.
Right, because
Yeah.
it is because you don't have you can't gauge.
Mhm.
You don't have any balance.
No.
You're one extreme or the other.
Yeah.
You don't want to be touched at all, or and after they've introduced these feelings to you at a young age, or they've introduced these feelings and these, and now you want that all the time.
Yeah.
It kind of drives you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Because
So that's what
it
yeah.
distorts your like sense of or concept of your body, or
Yeah, and
even though you
proper
know right
use
from
of it.
wrong, and
Yeah,
then you
yeah.
just ridiculed in church because then it's just like, oh, you know, you're that teenager that got pregnant at an early age.
And then you the pastor's kid that got pregnant at the early age. So
Yeah.
that's even worse. Oh, you the pastor, and your kid. Look at your kid
And
with
I
a
was that
baby.
kid for the pastor,
Yeah,
for my mom being a
yeah,
pastor. I was
yeah,
that, oh, church, you a church girl, you a PK kid. They always could deem us to be the worst anyway.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Not
But
knowing what we go through, not knowing that there is a reason. I always say that. When people used to say, "Oh, you a pre-K, you wow, huh? You party, don't you?" Y'all don't understand.
and I used
You
to be like,
don't get
yep,
it.
that's me. I'm the runaway. I'm the black. I'm that one. That's me. That's who I am. Yep.
Wow. Yeah, but it's a reason
Yeah,
why those things happen.
it does. It
It's
comes with it.
promiscuity does not. You don't wake up one day and say, "I just want to be promiscuous. I just want to." It doesn't. You're introduced to stuff. You're introduced to that. No little 8-year-old girl or 9-year-old girl is walking around here. 9-year, normal 9 year. They want to play with baby dolls. They want to play with their Barbie doll. They
Or
want to
not
play
be
with their
sexually
tea
touched.
sets, and they don't want to have somebody touch them
They just don't want to be. They don't
inappropriately.
want to be. You know,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
that all plays a
Right.
part in that. With that stuff. So yeah, so went through that. Shame, and so my mom being a pastor and her daughter always they praying and tearing for me because I done ran away. Come back, run away again. I'm at the altar. They up there, casting out all these demons I got inside me. You know what I mean? That all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
all
Oh
that
yeah.
fun things.
Oh
Fun,
yes. I've
fun.
seen some terrorism services, and I've been a part of them myself.
Yeah,
Okay. I've
yeah,
been prayed through. Okay.
yeah, yes.
So after your trauma, were there relationships lost? Did you have to relocate? What marriages broken up, babies born? What what other things were kind of uprooted and turned your life upside down?
But yeah, like but that's why I said I always gauge when I talk. People ask me about my trauma, things I went to my life. Like, okay, what kid did I have?
Okay.
And so I have
Okay.
four kids, and I think I had four kids before I was 22.
Wow.
And so baby's born.
You said you ran away. Were those? This was before you returned an adult, though, right?
Well, yeah, in my yeah, you can't run away after. Well, I used to run away with my daughter when I stayed with when I had I was 16. So I still ran away. I just took her with me.
Okay.
I didn't want her to leave. Sometimes I didn't, but most times I just
You
was just
ran away
scared.
with her.
I didn't want to leave that burden for my mom.
So okay, so in all these behaviors, your relationship with your mother, it never
It just like
wasn't
people
tried.
when they used to talk to my mom, that's why I say she was one of the dopest things he could have ever created. But if I would run away, in juvenile detention, and we just be sitting there like, oh well, are you eating? I love you so much, and that's how we talk. People looking at us like, so you guys are okay? Or just going into the bridge and we having our things and we're just talking so catty and I'm leaning on her because I love my mom and she loves
Right,
me. We love each other.
right.
Even, but I didn't, home was horrible with her being a pastor and all this. It just, I didn't want it. But it didn't take away the fact that I love my mom,
And she loved you.
and she loved me. And so people used to be like, so what's going on at home? Is everything like, not everything's not okay. Home is horrible.
Right. But my
But
mom's not horrible.
I mean, my
Yeah.
mom whooped me. I was terrible. So I got whooping. She whooped me, and I think I was the most whipped child. I think so. With
I'm sure your sisters would disagree.
I think they'd be like, yeah, Christina was
Oh,
some,
there's something else.
some but yeah, it was just not good. You
Okay.
know what I mean, with the different stuff. But our family is a close knit family.
Mm.
And so that, stuff being being in church and being a PK kid, being a PK sister kid, I don't know, because my sister's a pastor, my brother's a pastor, you know what I'm saying? My mama a pastor, my grandfather was a pastor. I'm just like, my auntie a pastor. It just, everybody pastors.
Right.
And so just being even that, we just pretty close knit, but we got so much judgmental stuff that, happens in between that stuff. So me and my mom's relationship went up and down in that stuff, but that's either us still growing in our trauma and in healings, and even her having to, admit to me, with her, coming with the men that she's marrying because I was abused, by, another person she was with, their nephew. And so people that, she's connecting with her being a pastor and then this and that. So it just was a lot, of different stuff. I had my view of my mother, but it didn't change the love that I have for her.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
No.
because I never hated her. I didn't like her. Doing sometimes I didn't understand some different things that she would do, or she trying to, drill God into us. But I feel like, but you're making these choices, with these men that you're marrying, and you're a pastor. You're supposed to make different choices.
Right. Right.
Like you can't make choices like the worldly
The
people, I
worldly
guess.
people.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And then I still get things happen to me like worldly people, but you're you know what I mean? And
We're a
so
PK. So it's supposed to
it
be a
kind of just
protection.
messed with me a little
Yeah.
bit, but
Yeah.
it didn't change the way that the love I have for her. And I think that was the reason why I was, she allowed me to heal and she walked with me, even when we did not agree.
Right. Right. That's amazing. That's
Mhm.
amazing. So what were some of your triggers?
Um, Going through the process of this, I think I didn't really talk much. This is the first time that I'm talking like this outwardly about it, but
Mm.
anybody who really knows me, I have no problem talking to them about my life. But and so just like I think it's just regular triggers, like if you see the person
Mm.
or different behaviors, I guess. Men just triggers for me,
Right. Okay.
even still, you
Okay.
know. And I know that, my, you know, distortion of different things that happen at an early age still affects me in different ways,
Mm.
and I see that in the way that I choose men because I don't, I love my men. I have brothers and uncles and something. They're men. I love them. But as far as like, whatever, men are triggers.
Mana triggers. Okay.
You know what I mean? So, because they just always, had that predator behavior with me. And
All right.
so, yeah. So I'm always leery about that. And then just, I don't have like, smell triggers or
Okay.
location
Triggers. Okay.
triggers. I'm not bound like that, but I think it's just a more so matters of my heart and my soul is when something's just kind of different stuff. But yeah.
Okay. So, did you have cries for help? Did you? I think the running away probably was a cry for help. Do you have
Well, I
that?
mean, that's what they say in the books. So I guess, I guess we can, I guess that's a cry for help. Um, I don't know. I think just like if I think about it now, of course I would say, well, you probably needed, somebody or whatever. But I really didn't want to talk about it, because I didn't really understand.
You didn't know how to talk about it, so that's why when
Yeah,
you have those different behaviors, so that's why they say cries for help. She's running away, or promiscuity was a cry for help.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
different other. So did you use vices to mask your trauma? I guess that would be the being quiet, maybe.
Yeah, I was always a pretty quiet child, and I'm pretty still quiet unless you know me. I'm not a middle person. Either you like me or you don't like me. It's not no, oh, I just halfway deal with Christina. I'm just not, that's a vice. So I come how I come all the time,
Mm,
but some vices, um, I don't know if I would say I have vices to mask. I think my vices to make sure that, because trauma is going to affect me for the rest of my life because it's a
right,
traumatic experience
right,
that happened. And so I just use vices as far as like I live intentionally.
right.
You know what I mean? And so I don't know. That's why I said I really wouldn't mask it, but I know that I am very intentional about how I move,
Okay,
because I know that if I be unintentional, because I have in the past,
right.
move, and because of this, and just so bound by all this toxic stuff because of that. And so I'm just my vices that I use to let, because of trauma, allowed me to still live the way I need to live, and not letting me destroy myself by self-sabotaging myself
Right.
by, letting that stuff, depression, being diagnosed with bipolar and all this different stuff, to just hinder me from, I'm gonna still come.
Okay, so you were diagnosed with bipolar depression.
Manic.
Was that it?
Bi-
So you're manic.
mhm.
So that's a higher, if I'm correctly, if I'm
Yes,
am I correct? There's a
it's
because
high.
I know there's different levels of bipolar, right?
Yeah,
So
bipolar type 2.
okay, so manic is the like at the top or whatever.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
yeah, there's some different combinations, and major depressed. I would they tested me to be clinically depressed. One of my doctors I had during all that time. Even when I went through counseling with that pastor had violated me, said I would be depressed for the rest of my life. That's what he told me. So I
Sure.
believed it, because I
Okay.
was like, oh, I'll never get over it,
Right.
or I never be able to heal from it because of the mental, issues that I have because of so much stuff being, but my brain didn't know what to do but to split in a
Right.
format that it did. But and that's why I say my vices that I use, I'm very intentional.
Right.
So I'm really straightforward. I'm gonna tell you the truth. My intent is the truth. It's not,
Right.
oh, I'm trying to separate. No, I'm intentional. So I don't waver into my emotional. My emotional self will bring out my trauma, and I won't get out the bed, and I'll make bad choices, and you know
Mm.
what I mean, with different stuff. Because trauma makes you be sexually out, so I am very intentional with what I try to do, because I've been there, done that, when I
Right.
allowed trauma to affect me. So I'm just, being with whoever I'm being with, sleeping with whatever, not taking care of myself, running with the crowd, trying to just live life to the fullest in that moment, or
Right.
different stuff. So just like learning that, like I do have to use vices. So I live on purpose.
Exactly.
So I don't have any regrets of what I do. If I did it, I did it.
Right.
Not because
Right.
of nothing, because that's just what I did.
That's what you did.
I'm intentional about. I'm not gonna have regrets, because I lived that life growing up, not talking, not being honest, not being truthful of what I feel within, or what works for me and what doesn't work for me.
Mm.
So I don't allow it to dictate nothing in my life.
Great. Great.
So
That's awesome. So, what are some of the ways that you're coping and you're dealing with what happened to you? So, are you You mentioned therapy. Are you still
Well,
in
yeah, I
therapy?
went through that. I didn't just arrive here.
Oh, right.
I'm 39. I just told
Right,
you I grew up last week.
right.
And I learn every day. I learn every day, but um, knowing and understanding who God is has,
Yes,
yes,
yes.
and that is the only, like I said, I was in treatment in psych wards, strapped to beds, and you know what I mean, tried not, I can say committed, so of course I didn't do that because I'm sitting right here, but I, hi,
Hi.
but being in there because I tried to kill myself multiple times and just didn't work. I'm just like, I can't even do that right. I can't even kill
Because
myself.
you had a purpose.
Well, yeah, then that's why I grew up, Lauren, being a PK kid. You're prophesied and purpose. Like, you know what you can do with that purpose?
I can't.
Like,
Girl,
but when I
listen.
start understanding my purpose
Hmm.
and knowing who I am and what cloth I'm cut from, oh, okay, now okay. So it's like, I know that um, I don't condone anything that I went through, but if I can just kiss the feet of God and just tell him, thank you for
Jesus.
allowing me to
Yes.
go through everything you had me go through, because
Yes.
I wouldn't be the wonderful person. I think I know everything. I think I'm a genius. I think I'm smarter than Einstein person
Right.
that you created today. I wouldn't be who I am. I just wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't understand some different things. And I'm just appreciative that for myself, not even for my purpose. I'm glad that I'm able to experience my life myself,
Right.
and knowing that know that there actually is a light at the end of the tunnel,
Yes. Yes.
or that darkness is not all bad. It's still,
Oh, yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Learning God and trying to understand who he really is and what my life supposed to be and why I struggle since the womb. I'm
Right.
I am, I mean, somebody, I I I am I love God.
Yes.
I appreciate it. I can't even say, get it out to,
Right. Yes.
knowing. And I'm 39, and I literally, my come to Jesus moments happen. It's a new enlightenment when I understand um what I went. I mean, like, what is it's out of a horror film, my life.
Right.
But to even still come out on top, not, I can't say, well, unscathed, untouched. No, I was
No,
scathed.
I was scared.
I was burned. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Yes, I came out with bruises and wounds and scars, but I'm just like, I love my scars.
Yep. Yep.
I love
And
them.
that's
And
awesome.
yeah,
That's
because
awesome.
they have healed. And
Mhm.
so it's not reopening a wound. It's just caressing the wound and talking about it. Like, okay, this happened. I was raped. Yes, I was raped. And it was devastating. Yes, it was. That's not a good thing.
Nope.
And what rape is and what it is behind that and what manifests about being abused to that point, and then for it to happen again.
Yep.
Like, oh, okay.
Recidivism. Yeah,
Yeah. And
recidivism.
so it's
When
just
you
like, and I'm still standing. But sometimes
right,
I'm still laying. Sometimes I'm not standing.
right,
But even at the end of the day, it just everything I went through in my life with my daughter and her getting a heart transplant and her dying, and understanding that even if you take my child, even if I die, I still would say you was God. I have no regrets because you have
Jesus.
actually allowed me to, man, breathe and
Right,
to share my story,
right,
even if it doesn't reach anybody.
right,
I'm my own testimony. I'm my own witness I
right.
testify to myself, and
To
I'm
myself.
to the wall because it's and I'm okay with that,
Right.
because he allowed me to breathe every day. So it's just, man, he could have took my life.
Yes. Yeah.
He could have took my life. And um I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of trauma that people go through, and they, things with pastors and with the spiritual side of it. I think it's just detrimental with stuff with sexual and physical and spiritual abuse, and it's not good,
Right,
for
right.
people and then you get to come out, of that, aware of that stuff. and these people that's rising up is going to be great.
Exactly. Exactly. So so you experienced some spiritual abuse?
Well, through church, that's what it's just manipulation from the pulpit.
Okay.
When people, my opinion, I am not a theologian.
Theologian.
Yep, I'm
Hmm.
not her. So don't
Right.
be don't be sending Lisa messages asking Bible quotes where the scripture located.
Right.
So this is just my thought, and I just think like it just when you try to push the fear of God like that and use your power behind it, no. And that's how people get abused and the spiritual abuse and doing crazy things, as different things that you shared in your life, going through spiritual abuse where there's the bullies in the pulpit.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? So that's spiritual abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So going back to some of the things that we were talking about, you coping and you dealing with certain things. How are you dealing with stuff now, like in your relationships? Can you elaborate or talk about that a little bit?
Well, I know I sucked at relationships.
Okay.
I sucked at relationships because I had issues. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And so I carried them in with me in my relationships and how I view myself in a relationship and stuff. So
Were you ever married?
I was married twice. Well, I got married when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought, okay, whatever. So I thought to try it again to a man. Um, and I'm not, I'm not married, so it didn't work.
Oh, well, you stressed man. So what you said you're not married to?
Well, yeah, and then I think that's another stigmatism that comes. So the stigmatism that comes with trauma and sexual stuff is just like, oh, you know, women usually go to another woman. So I was married to a man the first time, but my preference is not male.
Okay. So are you what they call homosexual? Or are you bisexual? Are you laughing? What is that? What is
I
that
know
laugh?
because I know we just because I mean technically if you was be talking that would people would consider me to be bisexual.
Okay.
Um, but at the end of the day, and what the trauma had caused me with dealing with that experience with him, because I looked to him so much as a father figure and this stuff, and then he kind of uh, defecated that image and that whole process, that even though that I would still have sex with men, that experience took away the normalcy of sex with a male.
Okay.
And so my preference at the end of the day um would be a female.
A woman. Okay.
Yeah, because of the whole penetration thing is bothersome,
Jesus.
to me. And so even though sex is not a bad thing, sex is great with a
Right.
male, and so it's not just like, oh, I just hate men and I don't, men are I love men in the sense of that connecting with the bodies, but it's like at the end of the day, because of what that brings forth to me in my soul, it's bothersome. So
Right.
it bothers me, the whole process. And then I have I don't always feel normal after that stuff. So it just I don't, that whole penetration thing, it just he took that normalcy away
Absolutely. Absolutely.
from
That's totally understandable.
the normalcy, things. And because my sexual distortion happened when I was molested. So my views of just that whole thing as being considered a lesbian or bisexual, my sexual preference or however, it's just like, I believe God created Adam and Eve, period. I don't need no scripture saying anything thus after.
Right.
That's good enough for me, regardless if that's the choose of my choice of my path. I still was like, I was not born this way. I that's just my that's almost a way that I use as a vice for my trauma.
Right. Right.
You know, it's better for me. It's more comforting to me, you
Right.
know, of that, because it just doesn't, it feels good for a minute, but then I think that's why it changes, as far as like somebody would say you're bisexual or not. It changes, and then at the end of the day, it would be her.
Okay. And that's, it's, if anybody tries to come at you different, you know, with the Christianity thing, I will question what type of Christian they are if you can't understand that concept.
If I mean it, and to me, I'm just like, you know, it's a choice that I made. I'm old enough to know my choices. And when God, he's either going to say, yes, I knew you, or no, I did not know you. You know
Right.
what I mean? And
Mm.
so I am okay in that, you know, and my relationship with God, you know, doesn't hinder my sexual preference or who I choose to be with or whatever. I still, you know, love God, and you know, I'm a believer. Christianity, I don't, you know,
Right.
I'm a believer of God and Jesus died and all that, you know,
Well, the
but
people that were introducing God to you violated you. So,
or gave this, or even the whole concept has just been distorted of
right.
what different things. And so that's just, at the end of the day, that's just what it is for me. And
Right.
that's my journey. But it doesn't take away of what, I'm not trying to rewrite scriptures or
Right. Right.
be like, oh, I just was this born this way. Oh, okay.
Right.
Nobody's born no way. They're born nothing. We tell, you know, we tell
Right.
you if you're a
We
boy
tell
or
you what
girl,
your boy or
vagina.
girl.
I mean, sorry, I said vagina on the thing, but
It's okay.
no, but you're, you know, so I'm not here. That's not me. You know, what I choose, I'm not going to rally because that's my choice to be like, oh, you know, try to make it conform to me.
Right. Right.
I know that my distortion that's my choice with it. The sexual thing that happened to me brought me to that conclusion. Absolutely, yes.
Exactly.
You know,
Okay. So with that, um, your mom being a pastor, you're a PK. How, are people or your family members handling that? The ones that are still ministering the gospel of Jesus Christ, like how are they handling that with you?
well, nobody has to handle anything with me because I'm 39,
All right, go ahead.
and so handling it, you know, that's somebody's choice.
Mm,
But you know, in the beginning, because I mean, this is not a new thing for me, but in the it wasn't welcome with my family. They didn't, you know, it was just another thing that Christina's doing, probably because of what happened to her thing, you know. But I think this over time, you know, I'm true to myself, and my consistency shows proof more than anything I can say. And so I just live my life, and then my sexual preference or who I choose to be with personal in my journey, my personal things, is really no one's business, you
mm,
know. But my family, you know, want to make sure that I'm okay and I'm making great choices, because I have not made great
right,
choices. So
right.
overall, they don't care if I'm with a blue duck. They want me to make
Want you to
right
be
choices.
okay, right, right. They want
Hmm.
you to make
And
good
so
choices.
my mother nor my family, my sisters and brothers would not just be like, yeah, it's just whatever their opinions and judgment is theirs. You know what I'm saying? But it's not a pressure with different stuff. And I think my consistency does that, you
Okay.
know, and it is what it is now. But in the beginning, it was not. I'm talking about coming to my house, throwing out stuff, praying, that demon spirit that
Really?
supposedly, yeah. And and so that it was bad, you know, it was bad. Prayer, I got prayed for so much. And you know, and
Was it in a way to try to embarrass you, or was it genuinely like out of love, like we really are concerned about?
well, judgment is not out of love,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
It's out of what truth is. So, you know, people are make emotional things. And so it was out of emotions, and it was out because you're not, you know, I was never really that type of person to be persuaded by anything. So no preacher or pastor is not going to sit there and tell me nothing. If I don't understand it, and it has to make sense in it, you know, it needs to be, we need to have a conversation before all this different stuff. Like, well, I mean, whatever you believe God is or who he is to you or whatever, I'm not going against that because I believe there was Adam and there was Eve.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Right.
creation is what creation. I'm not going to change that. So my consistency in who I am, I never try to force that or just be like, well, no, it is exactly from me being raped by my stepfather that changed my concept of standing my ground in it.
Yes. Yes.
You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? And so I'm not trying to rewrite history with that.
Right. Or
You know,
rewrite the Bible. Right.
right. So then nobody really can come to me and say anything because I'm not going against, okay, you're right. Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm
It's
not
wrong.
saying nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Uh,
yeah. I get it. I totally get it. And Pete, I appreciate that your honesty with that,
yeah.
because that is what it is. Even without with the 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 fornication,
Mhm.
there's choices you made, and if you're being promiscuous, it's from a distorted place.
Mhm.
It's from a bad place, and you're being driven, but it's wrong, but you're being
Well, I
driven.
don't say I don't. I see. I don't.
I'm not saying you're driven. I'm not. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
want you to.
and I don't say, well, this is wrong or right or however. I don't make stances like that because I'm not God.
Right.
And so I'm not gonna make huge stances on right. There's only God's gonna judge us, or if you do something wrong in the court of law, the judge is gonna judge you. And thing I'm not a judge or the judger,
Right.
and so I don't take stance on what's right and what's wrong. My mother did not birth a bisexual child; she birthed Christina, and
Mm-hmm.
so what comes with Christina is comes with that. And so it's just not, and then that's just what it is. That's just a choice that I choose to do in my life. And so I don't what I choose to do in my household, my personal preferences is just that. And so I don't push that or make stances like what I believe is right or wrong or whatever. I just don't go against the Bible, and I just hold that whatever is true, period.
Right.
And so my behaviors and different things, I know for me, for Christina, that's where it stemmed from me, because that's where that whole thing is just not right, that it messed me up. So I don't want it anymore in that sense.
Right.
And so I don't. And so I have that option to not, because that is a thing. So I
Right.
choose that because it's better for me. I sleep better at night, because if that's a vice to mask my trauma, okay, I'll take it. You know what I mean? And so I'm gonna be honest in that stuff, because I'm not gonna go against nothing that was written or my belief. I'm not gonna go against that. I just live
Right.
in my truth, and
Mm.
then just go on, and just my relationship with God is still that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's still that. So I know people have their different things, and people probably will have their comments, and welcome,
Right. Right.
welcome. That's fine,
Right.
because I'm gonna say the same thing.
Right.
It's unless some concept stuff is just like that's just what it is.
Right.
Is
Absolutely.
nothing above that. So there's nothing to rebuttal against if I'm saying okay.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's my path. So
Right. That's awesome. Okay, so with all your can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. I thought it said mute. Okay, so um what advice would you give a pastor or a preacher that has yet to have children or have young children right now currently? No, it's a loaded question.
Yeah. Would I give a pastor or a preacher that has yet to have children or have a young child,
Young children right now. Hmm.
as far as being a PK kid, or what?
Yeah, like what things what advice would you give them? What things would you tell them to look out for? What just because I know what I would tell them, me, about
Well,
about
maybe you should do. Okay, I don't know, because like I know how I raised my kids, and a lot of the ways that I raised my kids is a lot of the ways that my mom did.
okay.
And I like I said, I'm whether have my opinions about the Bible. I believe the Bible. I
Hmm.
believe what God says, and I am a firm believer. If one of my kids, I swear they will quote so much stuff.
Right, right.
I, and I raised my kids in that, like, obedience is better than sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like, train up a child in the way they go. When they
On
want
the
to
part.
depart. Like, I
Yeah.
believe, like, what's that one? Children, obey your parents and the Lord, for this
This
is
is
right.
right.
You know what I mean? So it's just
But,
like,
but parents don't provoke your kids either. Our parents, they used to always leave that out, and I'm like, Mama, the Bible say don't provoke your kids either, too, though. So,
yeah. But the truth is in that beginning statement, because I mean, at the end of the day, um, regardless of the foundation having some cracks in it, from different things, my mom has built a solid foundation in that discipline of that.
right.
Well, and she, in the beginning, she kind of raised us to fear in the fear of God, and so you just was kind of scared to be like, I don't want to go to hell. But then
Right.
after a while, you just like, hell might not be so bad.
You
But
know.
just kidding. I just said, as a kid, when you experience
Well,
so
when you
much
got
stuff
hell on
on
earth,
earth,
you'd be like, how
hell
worse can
might not
hell
be so
be?
bad.
Jeez,
And so it
I
just
get it.
like, I don't know if I would I wouldn't want, I think the hard discipline that was instilled in us, because it was instilled in my mother, as well as being a PK kid, is still, it works. Even if with cracks in it,
Yes,
it
yes.
just
It
works.
works.
It
Yes.
works. And so it just like, I just, I don't know. I just, spare the rod, spoil the child. I mean, I just would just like this. I don't know. It just, you just think like, I'm trying to think like, you know, you just got to be right. It has to be a balance. And you can't be gun ho in church all the time and, run your child, rapid, because you have to show up still as a father, 100%. You have to still show up as a pastor 100%. If you're married, you still got to show up as a husband
Right.
100%. That's still a lot of weight. But if you, I would tell, if you operate or move in a way that you're giving your 100%, the days when you fail as a parent, the days that you fail as a pastor, or you feel it's not as hard, the fall is not as hard, because you have strived 100% so much in the beginning. And so it just like, strive for your best. And I think like, you, with pastors, like, you just you have to have a good heart, but you also have to understand there is a difference in the creation that you're creating, if you want to bring your children into your ministry and what God has called only you. God didn't call me for that, he called
He
you.
called you. Yes.
So learning to manage, you have to micromanage everything. You still have to be careful of the people you preach about. You still have to be careful that you don't become the people that you preach about. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I think that you just have to find balance, like, and adapt to. Not really adapt in a word of conforming
Mhm.
into just real life, that your kids are not in church or in your home all the time. They're at school, they're with their friends, and so they're going to meet other people that's not like them. And so
Right.
just not to kind of make people feel like it's different, or to have a relationship with God is this to, like, it's so much a bigger world out there. So I think like to just raise their kids to be open-minded
Right.
in truth, period,
Mm.
and to just like talk about things of just not, you don't know everything,
Right. Right.
not to just like push that fire and brimstone on a child, because it makes a child kind of grow up in fear and not really be open to organic things. That's,
Right.
everything is of God in here. People choose to do things wrong. Everything in this world is of God. People make choices to make the world what it is. So the world is God. The world is believers. The world is because he created it. So not to create separation
Right.
or to make them feel like they're better than anybody else because you've been called to the ministry, on your calling, or allow that kid to experience your calling because it's not their calling.
Right.
Because, so I don't know. I just think like,
That's it though. It's not my calling was not your calling. That's your calling. And I have to, you got to let me learn what my purpose is and walk in my purpose and guide me, you know, guide me to it or help me figure out what it is. Help me, not force it or not put your call on me. And it'll come eventually. It's going to come,
That's
through
it.
prophecy,
Just like I
through
said,
whatever. Yeah.
the original biblical principles work
Yep. I
enough,
believe so too. I believe
so
so too.
just to teach that kid the understanding to lead and to live, I guess, life as the fruits of the spirit, and you'll raise a well-rounded child
Right.
with, in all of that. So I would give I give a pastor advice if the same I would give a janitor or a garbage person if they're going to be a father
Mm-hmm. Or a
or a
mother.
mother.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just would want them to be a father or a mother. A pastor is just another hat that you got to take off when you come home.
Right. Right.
Because you're not a pastor in this house. You're also a father. So you're a leader. You got to learn how to kind of
So
entertain.
that's an awesome concept. So do you think that they should stop being pastor when they get home? Like leave it at the door, hang it up at the door and just be dada or
You can't
mommy.
take off it's just like getting a job. If I'm a writer, I'm a writer. My name is Christina and I am a writer. If you're a pastor, my name is Tom or Elizabeth, and I am a pastor as well. But if that pastor have a job, you're not a pastor. You can't be coming preaching to people at work. Boy, go sit at your desk and type on
And
that
do your
computer.
thank you.
I thank you,
Exactly.
you're a pastor, but hey, you need these deadlines in. And
Yep.
so it's like operate in who you are, but that's your responsibility because that's your hat. And so like you still, if I'm a writer, period. When I
Right.
work, as a a community organizer, I'm still a writer,
Right.
but that's just not what I'm doing right now. I'm
Right.
organizing community activities, in my capacity that I am a great writer. When I, help people, with writing grants and different things, I'm still a writer, but I put it to use because that's just who I am. And
Right.
so that's what my, right hand and left hand can bring to the table and my feet can bring. But when I hit the door, I want to relax and be me. And I don't want to be a writer right now. I just want to sit on the couch or have my grandson in my hand, not to be like, do you know that the devil is coming? And he just want to watch cartoons.
Right. Right.
Or he just wants you to color with him.
Right.
He
Right. Oh,
looking
the
at me
devil is in
like,
that cartoon. Look at that witchcraft in the cartoon. And the kid is like, what?
yeah. He just want to watch cartoon. He
Yeah.
sees a person, two people playing. You know what I mean? So it just to kind of balance. But that's just being a parent.
Right.
Because if you're a teacher and you're a parent, you can't be a teacher all the time because your kid gonna be looking at you like, okay, can you not teach me? Can we just
Right.
have a conversation without you dictating or talking at me? Can we talk together? If
Right.
they're in that age group. But you know what I mean? But I
Right.
think that biblical principles still there's some cracks in it. And it's an old law,
Right.
old rules that still work
That
today.
still work
But they
today.
got cracks and holes and puddles and fire and floods in it, but it works.
It works.
It works.
I love it. It works. Paired with other stuff. I think you could
It,
pair it with other stuff.
you don't have to change it to fit nothing. It
Nope.
literally works. It can stand. It don't need you.
It's the foundation.
Yes, it
And
can
then
work.
you can build on top of it.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
And pair it with just mix it with stuff in your cake mix.
Build to fit everybody, so you build different rooms and you build different structures, and the house is weatherproof, and you that's why I mean, like, conform to your environment. If you build a house, you gotta, if you in Hawaii versus building a house in Minnesota with all the snow, the structure is going to be different. It's the
Right.
same concept.
Yeah.
So it still works. So you just got to still adapt to what's around you. You can't be just like don't raise your kids in this box because the world is still out there. You can't shelter them
Yeah.
like that
Yes.
because then they're going to be clueless and then they don't know what to do,
Right. When they get
or
out there.
feel like they're more deserving than others, or have this chip on their shoulder like they better,
Mm-hmm.
or feel less fortunate because they don't have to parent every day because they're out there, ministering the word of God, but just still
Right.
be present
Right. Be present.
in
Exactly.
moments.
And
Yeah.
moments. Right. Be at some of the moments.
Hmm?
because God is at all of our moments.
He is.
He's omnipresent. And so you can't tell me that I got a basketball game and you got to be at church and you can't be at my basketball game.
It's
You
okay to
know,
tell your members, like, I'm not going to be able to have a
I'm not,
meeting on
right.
Saturdays because my
My
son
son is
is.
playing basketball.
Yeah, you're
He got
still
a
a pastor in
basketball
the
game.
stands. You're still
Right,
a pastor.
right.
You got
Exactly.
to be present. So
Yeah,
yeah,
you got to be present. I like that. Thank you. I appreciate you, Mrs. Christina. Um, I have enjoyed you thoroughly. I
thank
think
you.
this is going to be a blessing to several to people that haven't experienced what you experienced. It's going to be a blessing, period. And I just want to let everybody know that there is a third part of this interview where Mrs. Christina is going to talk about her journey, and we're gonna go live with that. So you guys are gonna be able to tune in and ask Miss Christina your questions live, and she's gonna be able to interact with you guys live. So I just want you guys to get excited about that and stay tuned with that, because she's an amazing person, and I think she's gonna give you some great insight on, if you've been through this, on ways and different things that she's done to get through some of her difficult times, and give you some, pointers, whatever, and, offer some, like I said, I want to build a community. So we're not going to just leave you guys high and dry. We have a community. We have the Naomi experience, and
Mhm.
we're going to build a community of support, because this is a hard thing to go through, and you need people to help you go through it. You need people to help you walk through it. So Miss Christina is going to be available to talk to you guys and answer your questions live. But I need you to tune in to the first two interviews first, her
Yes.
experience, and then her behavior. And then we're going to talk live with Miss Christina about her journey. So again, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and listening to Surviving Being a Preacher's Kid, where we interview Mrs. Christina Crudup about her experience being a PK. Um, and like I said, you guys can tune in and watch her live talk about her journey and how she began her journey and what journey she is still on right now in her healing process. So thank you all for tuning in and showing up for the
Yes, thank you.
podcast. Appreciate you. I appreciate you, Mrs. Christina,
Thank you so much,
so
Brenda.
very
I
much.
really appreciate
Absolutely.
it. I really
Hey,
appreciate what you're doing, and I think that this this is going to be really good. And just even for people just to even just talk about things, even if you don't agree,
what with
no
everything?
judgment, is no out.
Right,
Anybody's not damaging. It's just about speaking your own truth and learning, and that there's other people out there like you, and it doesn't even have to be so as graphic or
right,
detailed,
right, right.
whatever. But trauma is trauma and is yours.
And it's yours.
And
And yep, it's okay
Lisa
to
has
own it.
created a space for you to talk about it. So you
Thank you. And
should.
then
Yeah.
in her third interview with us, Mrs. Christina is going to talk about her book that she's got coming out, Forsaken but Not Forgotten. So she's going to give you some clues into what that's going to be like and some possible release dates. So you guys get excited and make sure you're paying attention to that in her next interview with us. But yeah, thank you again, Mrs. Christina, for showing
Thank
up and
you. Thank
sharing your story. This is, you let us in, and we appreciate you for letting us in. We appreciate you for sharing your life with us and letting us come and take peeks into your life.
thank you so much. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Okay, thank you. All right, bye bye, Miss Christina.